how has everyone's con been? Good, good. Great, well, just a final reminder before we bring out the cast of Roswell, please make sure that you rate the app, rate the panel on the app at the end. It's really important for getting feedback and hopefully bringing these folks back in the future. And without further ado, please welcome the cast of Roswell.
Yeah.
You pull it out. Oh, thank you.
Hey y'all, glad you made it. So, how has your Dragon Con been so far? Is this anyone's first Dragon? Oh, wow. So, what do you think so far? What are your impressions?
Oh, it's definitely a nonstop party, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the fucking costumes are amazing. That shit's cool.
Yeah, do you have a favorite cosplay you've seen?
We just saw we saw Street Fighter
Arcade.
like arcade
Wow.
console.
Video game.
Like that
awesome.
is fucking insane.
We saw a Wookiee walking around yesterday who was like
giant.
8 feet tall.
Yeah.
I mean, that is definite commitment.
Yeah.
I always like someone in a waitress uniform.
And we're off.
Pandering.
And is this anyone's first time in Atlanta? Nope. Okay, great. No. Well, do you have any favorite food that you like to get when you come back that you're like craving when you visit?
Oh God. Anybody? Nothing specific for me. We just had Indian, but I crave that everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indian is a very craveable cuisine.
Yeah.
There's so many places at the Marriott. I can't pick. No, we haven't really been out and about enough to, but I would like to try Waffle House.
Have to, for sure. It's a southern rite of passage.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. Well, just a reminder to the audience, you can ask questions in the Discord app, and then we should also have some handheld mics coming around. But to start, it's the 25th anniversary of Roswell, which is amazing. So what are you thinking as you think back on the show from 25 years ago?
You do it. Gratefulness, ultimately. There's a lot of times in life you just never know what you have when you have it. And it comes, in all shapes and sizes and things and people. And this happened to be one where, obviously the people on this, that was the bad one. The people on this panel, we've been hanging out and talking kind of in and out for those 25 years, and we're all still very close. But looking back, it's something as you get older and things change, you get to look back and appreciate it. And, I think that's a rite of passage of just growing up in general. And this is just one of those special things that 25 years later, who really knew that we'd be here doing this? Fucking Goose over there.
Hey, Goose.
I really love the fact that, in thinking back about it, being here with everyone and hearing all the stories about how they watched it for the first time in high school or when they were younger, and then they may have grown up and had children, were able to revisit it and watch with them, and how for 25 years I see people who have been friends as a result of this show, and I just feel very grateful, and it's a real special thing to be a part of.
The end.
Yeah. I just say the same thing in Spanish, so it seems very true. And I feel what is most clear to me now, this many years later. I mean, first of all, I'm in denial that it's 25 years later. I am 25. But it makes me realize how much I am, like, you guys are my people. I'm a Roswell fan. I see everyone walking around, and I'm like, this is exactly what I would be doing too. And it just feels so special in that way. These guys, it's a bonus, but yeah, I feel like we have one of the sweetest, coolest, and determined fandom out there.
It must feel amazing to see such a great community coalesce around this show and project you made. When did you first become aware that the show was forming such a special community?
I think when we were shooting in West Covina, we started to get bigger and bigger and bigger crowds. I think that was part of the beginning of things, realizing that we were onto something special that was connecting with people.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the lore of Roswell, you have, crashdown.com, where before there was social media and everything else, that's where everyone went to talk about the episodes and the different threads on there and fan fiction and everything else. And that I hadn't been a part of anything like that. Things have changed now, obviously, where it's
Now
kind
you
of
write fan fiction.
He's like Kyle and Michael.
Exactly. Just saying, there's no rules. Part of that was, the crash down, and obviously that culminated in the Tabasco campaign to save the show the first season. So that was something that I had never, maybe it had happened for another show. I don't know, maybe they sent in Ferraris for Magnum PI. But I don't think that was ever in danger of being canceled. But that was when something was in the water. You saw the fandom, the power of the fandom and everything else and the love of them. So that was something that was
And a power of a fandom with much more limited resources. This was pre-social media. I don't know how you all got in touch and organized the timing, even the address of where to send the bottles. It's so impressive. And then ads taken out in Variety. It was just,
really?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it just, it was incredible. And I don't think it had been done before. After that, like Jericho had that,
Yeah.
but it was.
now you just have to hashtag it, right? Back then, you had to
send
Tabasco. Yeah, you had to go, buy whatever you're sending to
Go to the
Tabasco, go to the mailbox.
leave a horse's head in the CEO.
So many horses.
Yeah. I don't think I recognized it until, because even that stuff I thought was like, I was like, oh, I guess this happens for every show that is beloved, or like that has an audience, and then for me, it took many years where people would come up and say, the show meant this to me or whatever, and I thought, oh, well, even this, people must get this all the time. But then it persisted, like for decades, obviously, and I don't think I fully understood until 10 years ago or something, when it was like, oh shit, this has been going on for 15 years.
Yeah.
People are still, it still means something, and it's still even finding new people. So anyway, that was when I started.
Yeah, when I heard that David Nutter still got a lot of stuff for Roswell.
They'd be like, okay, Game of Thrones, great, but let's talk Roswell.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Yeah.
So that says something there, yeah.
Great. Well, we are going to take some questions from the audience as well. We'll get a mic. So we have a mic ready. You can go ahead and raise your hand, and they will come to you.
Here to take our order.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's fine. How's it going, y'all?
Good. Good. How you doing?
I'm good, good. One question for Jason. I mean, I have many things to say about everybody, but when Max told Liz where he really was from, was that ad-libbed by you? Or did they tell you to do it? Because that just moves my own.
I would love to take credit for that, honestly. That was all from Jason Kadams. I think we were all very blessed to have such a brilliant writer who really connected very much to people's heartstrings. And it was scripted that I just point up, and then, because it's the line of dialogue is, she says, up north, and then he kind of pushes it up just a little bit farther. I was asked, Lily Cowles from Roswell, New Mexico, asked me one time, she said, was that inspired by E.T.? And I really I hadn't thought about it in that way at all, but E.T. was one of my favorite films growing up, so I thought, well, I guess maybe somewhere in my subconscious it was. But that was also David Nutter, we mentioned, who it was all sort of on the day in the band room, just kind of like going through the scene and trying to find all those moments, and he really wanted to focus on that moment between Liz and Max of how important and risky it was to do that, and I think by adding levity for that point, I think really helped out. So E.T. and David Nutter and Jason Kadams.
Thank you. I think we have another question.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I've been watching you guys since I was like 9. I'm not 9. I am 36 now. So, Nick, this question is for you. Do you think that this show catapulted you on to being on Revenge?
I mean, I think catapult, it's the slowest catapult, if so.
It's the Olympic fall.
It take 10 years to, but
The Olympic breakdancing of a catapult.
yeah.
Ever.
Also one of the best costumes out there.
I was thinking more of the pole, the guy that got disqualified.
Oh, but it's,
What I thought we were saying. Go on.
But I do that. But I mean, yeah, no. Look, it is the thing that sort of gave me my start. Thank God, and remains one of the biggest and most impactful, things in the history of my career, and means the most to me and stuff. So yeah, it certainly couldn't have hurt. It meant that even when I wasn't on television and didn't get a chance to perform, certain people in the industry were still aware of me and maybe pulling for me here and there, and so yeah, it for sure gave me a start. I'll never be ungrateful. I'll never be done being grateful to those who gave me this chance. So yeah, thank you.
So they're going to want the people that want to ask questions have to come to me because they're doing a filming here.
Got it. It's good to know. So yeah, if you have a question to ask in person, go ahead and go to our mic guy in the back. And then we have a bunch of Discord questions, which is great. We're going to field a couple of those.
Oh, walking out.
Let's see. Pamster84 says, if the show would have continued, where would you have liked to see your character arc or development go?
As common as that question is, I never have an answer.
Well, it's a fire every time. It's a death and a fire.
Yeah.
That is a great question. I would have liked to see, maybe Bill, Sheriff Valenti, and Maria's music career taking off. I thought she would grow up to marry Michael. Brendan said no. That's not true. That's, yeah.
Don't boo me. I didn't.
I'm just still processing it, you know?
Got to pre-grieve.
I've answered this question a few times, so forgive me if you heard it before. I always thought that maybe Liz and Max would find their way somehow to a deserted tropical island and raise some kids and be left alone and live a long, happy, prosperous life. But we mentioned it the other day, and I was like, oh, so I guess I just really wanted to be on an island in Hawaii or something like that for like a few more years. I hope they found happiness. I think that was, hopefully where they were going.
It turns into Lost. Tess's bag.
That's another granite.
Another granite. That's another granite.
Thank you. Let's take another question from the back.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I watched you guys as a teen. So I feel like you guys are old friends. The show Roswell is a comfort show for me. I go back all the time and rewatch, especially during difficult times in my life. So thank you for being here for us fans. Now, going back to the Tabasco fiasco, I know that Brendan and Mahendra have been working on Baron and Toluca, and I sent in tea and honey to Netflix. So I was just wondering, are there any updates with that?
First of all, thank you so much for sending the tea and honey. That's awesome. We are in development. We have a production company we're working with, and we're just very intent on selling it to the right place. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it's one of those things where nothing happens until it actually happens. It's like, there is no we're 50% of the way there. It's not like a task you complete, like mopping a floor or writing a script. It's the selling and pitching of it is constantly kind of ongoing, and you're only going to hear one yes, and when we hear that, you all most certainly will.
I hear many yeses. It's which yes you take.
Well,
I don't know about you, but yeah, it's about getting the right yes, the right place. Someone that understands the particular nature of what we're trying to make, and also respect in regards to Roswell and Michael and Maria.
But not us.
No, because you guys,
I offered to do catering, but I still haven't heard back yet, so.
I'm sure we all hope that you get that one crucial yes, and we'll be tuned in to see. Let's take another question from the back.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. 25 years later, is there any particular scene that you guys would like to reshoot just for fun? And if you did reshoot it, would you add or change anything from the original?
oh wow, that's a
I
great.
would do the scene where I am sweeping in the trash can, and I would recast Michael.
Well,
with John Doe. Oh no, I'm gonna have to think on that one.
do we want to tell the story of why you might want to reshoot the sweeping scene?
I was 17, and my chores were not quite what normal 17-year-olds were, because I was on a show. I was busy. And I was really insecure about looking like I could legit sweep, just remembering to shave my armpits was, a huge, so house care was way far down the line, years down. So in my insecurity, I think someone showed me, and I still did it terribly. I'm a great sweeper now, by the way.
It was, well, that episode was also
Yeah,
my mom's first
So
day
yeah,
on set.
when I learned how to do it, unfortunately, his mother was on set, and I think you should take over because
Well,
Women have come a long way.
that's true. Well, it was my mother's first day on set, and obviously we have, you know, a heat wave, and we have to make out, which is, you know, a good way to introduce your mother to what you do on a daily basis. And my mother was a bit of a clean freak. We used to have to, when she vacuumed the house, we used to have to walk in the same footsteps all over the house, and we used to have to jump from like table to couch to end tables so that we wouldn't put footprints in the carpet. And so she got better as she got older, but she was a little bit of a neat freak. And when she saw Mahendra sweep for the first time, she was a bit aghast.
But no, it wasn't the first time though. This wasn't me at my best now. This was what she saw.
Well, when my mother, she was a bit aghast at the sweeping technique that Mahendra was employing. It was like, I don't think she's ever handled a broom before.
And at that time, that was considered horrifying, you know, for a woman to know. So yeah, bit of a dark story.
It's a great question. I don't really have an answer for it other than that. Maybe the very last scene of graduation, after the van goes off, it cuts to black and just says, "To be continued."
I don't know what you mean. I'll say this. I don't. So, you know, I haven't watched the show in many years, like since. I rewatched certain things. There was a time a long time ago I was trying to put together my reel post the show, and I had to rewatch some of it to kind of do that. But I hadn't watched it since then, and so I only get sent, you know, scenes that I'm in sometimes. Somebody will send it to me on Instagram or something. I'll see like a clip of me in a scene from Roswell. And I don't wish I could reshoot it because I made choices then that I don't think I would make now, like in a way that I'm a little jealous of now, where I'm like, oh fuck, like I lost some of my innocence, and I have an idea of how to act now, and I didn't have an idea of what I was doing back then, and there's something about that I wish I could go back to. So even while I don't think I'm crushing it all the time on the show, I like that I didn't know what I was doing, and now that I have an idea, I sometimes feel boxed in by that. So, yeah, I miss the freedom of not knowing.
Let's take another question from the back.
Hi, my name is Natalia Mendez. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic, and I really don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you, because when I was in the Dominican Republic, I really didn't speak English, and Roswell, I think God used Roswell to teach me how to learn English, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's great English too. Congratulations. That's perfect.
Clearly it worked. Next question.
Hi, my name is Nell. I'm curious about when you attend fan events like this, are you able to go to other panels and actually enjoy the event? You know, like a NASA panel or a CDC panel or something of that nature?
No. The answer's no. I don't know why you're thinking.
Yeah.
The answer's no.
I mean, you could if you wanted to.
Well, but then you can't eat lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So no, unfortunately, no. I mean, you could maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can maybe walk around. You know, there was a couple people that I knew that were going to be here. That you stop into their booth and you say a quick hi.
Yeah, you give a hug, and then you gotta go.
Yeah, but then we're here for you guys. So if we're not doing this or we're not at the table, then we're really not doing our job. So and I think, as fun as some panels would be and everything else, this is why we're here. And for some of you, you're here because of us, and so that's what we prepare to do for the weekend, and that's what makes these things so much fun.
Well, also, don't pretend that we prepared.
Let's do a Discord question real quick, then we'll keep going in the back. For the aliens on the cast, did you like the power that your character had, or do you wish your character had a different power?
I loved the powers that Max had. I kind of wish I could blow up some rocks like Michael.
Yeah, awesome. Blowing up rocks. Do you know all your powers?
From all the rest of the books?
No, like in the show.
Yeah, the healing the molecular structure, changing that. I was able to, the force field, I was able to do that. And also, there was a scene, and I'm sure it's just the molecular structure thing, in the Snapple caper that you were in, I think. But that
I think it's the Great Snapple caper, isn't it?
The great, yeah. And so Max puts his hand down with Liz and has a hang glider, and he basically forces the wind up and they fly with the hang glider. It's like self-propelled hang glider. That was really super dope, though.
It is wild.
We shot it over the dam over in Los Angeles, and they had us on a crane. And so, you know, the first time they did it, they had us all hooked up, and me and Sherry on it, and they said action, and they pulled it up, and you kind of see the dam sort of slowly get smaller, and then they brought us out over the edge of it, and Sherry would like just, she's not afraid of heights, but it was pretty high up there. I just remember her grabbing on me really like tightly, because it felt very real. But I think that's it. I don't know, am I missing anything? I think I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, I could break rocks. I could shoot something out of my hand. I think I was the first person to kill someone with that.
We can all do that.
And then it was funny in summer of '47, which me and Mahendra just rewatched for the thing. I know he's not really Michael, but I change a root beer to a beer.
Yeah. Was it Hal? Was that
for
his name?
Hal? Yeah. And
Jesus can do that.
yeah, I know.
Some water to wine.
And so I believe I have done something. There was just times where I look back and I go, oh, I don't remember that he could do that. They played a little loose and, a little loose with the power sometimes, just in terms of sticking to a Bible. They just, speaking of Jesus. No, I'm just joking. In terms of, I think for some convenience sake in writing and making it, they could maybe just give an alien a power to make something happen in the scene that needed to happen. But I believe I just had that. Are you okay, Nick?
Yeah, no, I just heard somebody die.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. I love that. Didn't what's her name have?
Because Katie could play CDs.
Well, and she could
can
she had like microwave hand.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She could.
Yeah.
Oh, so did. But so did
she could
I.
also manipulate.
That was the same. I think there was just like heat. I think there was just heat coming from my head, like.
Yeah.
Because I melted cheese.
You melted the locker.
Yeah.
In leaving Las Vegas to hide your money. Your locker, Brendan.
Right. What does that mean?
Because you thought you never saw the locker.
Oh yeah. Oh. That's what we were
Also,
talking
I do remember now obviously the connecting with Liz and being able to sort of like let her see how I saw her.
That's right. And then I tried to do that with Maria. Did it work?
Yeah, but you did, and then you didn't. I don't know. It's all lies. I don't know what's true. No, but I will say a fun fact that they didn't keep in is, how from season 1 to season 2, suddenly I got some extensions in my hair. They had a scene where Isabel, I'm like, thanks for the hair. And she's like, no problem. Was that in there, or did they take
Oh,
that
no,
out?
that is right.
Oh,
yeah.
it is in there?
Yeah.
Like, remember she changed nail polish color? That's the power right there.
The most important
That's
power.
where it's at. Looks.
Next question.
Hello, I'm Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Hello.
Again.
To me, and I think so many others, Roswell is one of the most perfectly casted shows maybe ever. And I was wondering if you remember what your audition process was like, and if you only auditioned for the character that you received, or if you auditioned for others.
Oh, shit. I just read from Max, and it was pretty early on in the process, and so I was thankfully able to be a part of the rest of the casting process. I mean, not all of it, but it was an insight for me to see how the sausage is made. I read with a lot of Isabel.
Saucers?
Saucers. No, I said sausage.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making like a fucking alien play on it, and I was like, you asshole, you planned this whole thing. Sorry, go ahead.
So he did prepare.
Yeah, I did.
So I was able to. I read with a bunch of Isabels. I tested with them. I read with a bunch of Liz's, and we were having a real hard time trying to find our Liz. And she might have been one of the last people cast, actually. And so yeah, I think it was nice for me to be able to do that. But
yeah, I got an opportunity to audition for it because I did Disturbing Behavior, which David Nutter directed, and he had recently done the X-Files, and he was just like, you and David, you and Duchovny, you look the same, and like he couldn't get it out of his head, and he really wanted to give me something kind of bigger in Disturbing Behavior, but I didn't have enough experience. But he remembered me from that. And then when the Roswell audition came along, I remember getting the script. You used to get the script like delivered to your door. It was pretty wild. The courier would drop off all the scripts. And I remember reading it, and I had an audition for Max. And when I read it, I really wanted to play Michael. And I tried to convince my agent to get them to let me audition for Michael. And they said, well, it was in Vancouver, and they said no. So I read, I tested with, not tested, but I did a chemistry read up in Vancouver with Carly Pope as Liz. And I was Max. And then we both ended up getting to test down in LA, and we flew down together. And the night before I was supposed to go in and audition for Max, David Nutter called me, and he said, we're gonna have you audition for Michael as well. And I was like, fuck yeah. And so during the test, I got to go, I got lucky, because I don't think I would have landed Michael if I would have just gone in once, but I got to go into the room and audition for Max. And you have nerves, you don't know what the room looks like, still to this day. It's a fairly nerve-wracking experience. And so I got to get those out of the way with Max a little bit. And so when they sent me back out and I got to wait with all the Michaels and audition, I kind of already had a vibe of the room, and I was a lot more relaxed, and then obviously ended up getting that. So the whole thing ended up turning out to be quite a blessing.
It's such a nightmare story. I can't, do tell. Okay.
She's baiting us.
No, it's just like, she can't sweep, like she can't, you know what I mean? So I was testing by myself. No one had been cast yet. I was testing by myself, against myself. No one else was testing for Liz. It was obviously a more comical Liz. Plenty funny, but this was over the top, what I was doing. And then in my contract, because you have to do your contract before you test, I asked for a set teacher, because I was 17 and still thought that I had a chance at being educated. And I had said that I was an adult and could work like an adult. And that was technically true, because if you get a GED, you can work adult hours on sets. But they didn't care. They were like, liar, you're 17, screw her, she's out. No joke. So I am in a full panic, and I write a apology note to every exec, every producer, and David Nutter, explaining what my thinking was, which was I can work adult hours. I just would like to have a tutor because I am going to stay in school. And by the time that they forgave me, I received a call. You have been offered to be in Roswell. And I was like, yes. And then I get the information, and I'm playing Maria. And that's it.
Wait, did you audition for a different role? No.
I was testing for Liz.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And he hadn't been, like, no one was cast. It was like, that's how long it took for them to forgive me.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm just a dumb kid. You know, I got so much to learn. And then they did, which was so lovely that they read this, silly note, and we're like, all right.
All right.
And then, I
give her a whole fucking major part on the show.
Yeah.
I had auditioned for Alex originally, and then they brought me back as Kyle, and then I auditioned several times for it. I don't remember anyone else who was for it. I think I remember one. Is that bad to do?
Well, I don't know what you just did.
Remember
to
what?
name a person who you yeah, whatever. I won't name anyone, but yeah. So no, sorry, I can't because I don't want it to feel like it's like a fucking backhanded bullshit to that person. It's not. There's I got lucky, and then that.
Is
person
he in the
went on
room right now?
No. No.
Is he at the table?
No, if there was somebody in the room, I'd say it. I don't care about your feelings. But anyway, so yeah, and then I managed to fucking get it, and I have no idea how. And I'll say that Shiri said that she read with all the people auditioning for my part, and this I always liked because I did try to make it funny. But that's just because I just try to with everything. Nice, you're almost there. You're doing fine. I don't blame you. I talk a lot. But she said that I read with everyone, and you were the only one who made him laugh. And the role wasn't originally like really meant for that. He was just a jock jerk. So I was aiming for that. Thank God. Anyways.
Well, thank you. Next question.
Hi, my name is Eric. I've had a pleasure of meeting you guys a few times at a previous con and this weekend. And I want to say, in addition to the great production of the show with the writing, directing, cast, I always loved the music. And that's where I found one of my favorite bands, from Ivy, from the prom episode, and they were played in the episode for Isabel's wedding. Did the cast members ever have any selection choice or any input with all the different music in the episodes during the seasons?
I'm a big Radiohead fan, and I was always pushing to try to get Radiohead on the show. And somehow, some way, when we were doing the Max in New York City, like going to see If He Was King, we were able to get them to say okay for us to use How to Disappear Completely as they were testing Max. That was like the only thing. But that was like, I love the show. I love all the things that we did on the show. I love to have this connection with these guys here after 25 years. But that is one of my favorite things about the show. We were able to get Radiohead on that show as a result of like me saying, can you please try to ask these gentlemen if it's okay that we kindly use just a little snippet. That was my one and only time I ever asked.
Yeah, no, I never had any influence.
Yeah, no, I mean, closest thing in terms of music and all that stuff was just what posters were put up, in Michael's apartment. And, I wanted to, I definitely wanted a Metallica one up there, which we got. And that's about it. Other than that, they don't let us, even now when we're slightly more mature and veterans of it, you don't let actors, you just do your job. Unless you're a producer.
It's weird sometimes.
We have too many ideas.
Decisions about your character feel made without you. Like set deck stuff, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's not this, he has that up? I don't feel that he would have that. But it's like, it's too late. It's already there, and I'm not going to fucking make him change shit. So yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes it feels like you're just, and I get it, especially with TV.
Yeah, but sometimes it could inspire you, though. You were like, oh, you see him as having this kind of, he collects plates? All right, never really thought of my character that way. Let's see if I can incorporate that some way.
Well, as a fellow Radiohead fan, thank you for getting that on the show. That's awesome.
And thank you for the question, Eric.
Since you mentioned the New York arc, we actually had someone in the Discord ask, what was it like playing multiple versions of yourself? Were there any challenges that came with that?
That was one of my favorite things about the show. Was the first time I was able to do that was with Max the Max, being able to play Niseto's idea of what Max was like, who was kind of a dangerous fella. That was fun, and also like you get to play Niceto as Max cuts directly to the regular version of Max, and how do I differentiate that in any way? How does he walk and how does he hold himself? But my favorite, and I enjoyed playing Zan as well.
Yeah, you got to do it a couple times,
I got to do
right?
it a few times, but he didn't last very long because somebody threw him under a bus or a garbage truck.
Don't remember.
But one of my favorite episodes of the entire series was End of the World, where I was able to play. I got to know Max over like 26 episodes, I think it was. And then flash forward him into, I believe it was 2014 was when that Future Max was from. All those life choices that brought him to that, and then bring him back to the present, and again, like, have him cut directly to, our version of Max that we've grown to know, was amazing for me. It was challenging as an actor, and also like incredibly rewarding.
Did they base the look of Zan on Tom Cruise in Magnolia?
or Future Max?
It was Cruise from Magnolia, and it was the Road Warrior.
So it really was?
Yeah.
I fucking knew it.
Nailed it.
Let's take another question from the back.
Hey guys, what's going on? My boyfriend and I stumbled upon the show roughly 2 months ago. And we made the pilgrimage to Dragon Con specifically for Roswell. So I wanted to let you guys know that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family.
The question that I have may have already been answered in some fan communities, but I wanted to extend it to you guys here, mostly to Jason on account of him playing Max. You just mentioned Future Max, and when we were watching, the show, we binge watched the whole show. So from like season 2, in like the situation with Future Max coming in and Liz having to lie and all this, when you get into season 3, it seems like nobody remembers that, nobody really calls back to it. So that's kind of like a huge plot hole that I'm not sure if there was an explanation for, and I wanted to see if you guys knew anything about that, because every episode that was going on, it was like, yeah, this is awesome, but what about Future Max?
Yeah.
Why doesn't Liz just tell Max that happened, So thanks.
That's a great question for Ron Moore and Jason Kams. So I'm going to defer to them. But, I've heard this sort of this idea that maybe Tess mind warped the whole thing, like a lot of the stuff. So I'm not sure, but it's a good question. I think that next time if you see Ron Moore or Jason Cadence, you should definitely ask them.
You came all this way just to gripe about? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding.
She's got more.
Thank you so
Totally
much,
kidding,
though.
totally
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Let's get the next question.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and I'm from the Atlanta area. So I was super excited that you guys were coming here because I was able to see you for the first time in person. So thank you for coming to DragonCon. And I just have a simple question, which I'm sure you've heard a million times from all of the fans. But you talked about at the end of season 3 how it had the black screen with the to be continued. And we are all probably here today really excited about B&T. But have you all considered or discussed the possibility of continuing the story of the original series? But, you know, in the future, like having a sequel, what would it look like if some of the characters had children, things like that? Like, is this a possibility that we could still hold out hope for?
I mean, I'm in, you know. I've always been a fan. I've always felt like there's more to be continued. Like, okay, when's the next episode?
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of us put some feelers out there, and then a year or two later, the Roswell, New Mexico was made. So I'm not sure IP-wise whether that's doable, but would love to see it. Would love to be in it.
So maybe I'll amend my answer from before. So it says to be continued on Netflix, on a desert island. A tropical island, not like Lost, but more like
Hawaii Five-0
or something like that. Some cool cars.
Yeah, I like it. Is there zip lining?
That's all we do.
Oh, great, beautiful. I'm in.
Yeah, I think I have a very unpopular answer to this one, and I would say no, only in the sense of looking, you know, Nick talks about having, you know, lost some innocence. You know, the more you know, kind of, you make different choices. And, you know, I think at that time, it was a certain time and place, both in my life and in culture and, you know, just, you know, the climate of, you know, everything, politically, socially, whatever. It all kind of factors in. And looking back, to be able to, you know, put on the Doc Martens of Michael, I can't see it. I feel like it would be a replica of him. I feel like it would be a bad reproduction. I don't know if I could authentically get back to where he was, because it was, even though I had a great childhood and not a lot of trauma or drama in my life, as a kid, you're still finding yourself, and there still is a little bit of angst, and there still is a little bit of these kind of emotional qualities that you know, men and women at that age, I think, kind of have, that as you get older and get married and have kids, they kind of disappear. I mean, a little bit, or they morph into something. And I don't know if I could get back into those boots of Michael. So I would certainly consider it. It would be interesting to see. I wouldn't say no outright, but my instinct is like,
hold out for more money.
Hold out for more money. I wouldn't want to ruin him, not even for you guys, but for me either, because I think I hold him in as high or probably higher regard than you guys do, because he's one of my favorite characters ever. And so something, you know, it's like, don't remake the Goonies. Don't do stuff like that. You know, leave the good stuff on its own. And I feel like this is best left alone, is my instinct. So I know it's unpopular. Not that I wouldn't want to. I just, you know, sometimes you gotta, you know, sometimes
It's the most Michael response. And he wears Crocs now, whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be the Doc Martens.
Guys, don't worry. On the Hawaiian version of Netflix's new Roswell, the part of Michael will now be played by David Duchovny.
Yes.
Exactly. There you go.
That's right. David Duchovny
I would approve.
in flip-flops, okay?
Californication.
Let's take the last question in the back.
Hi, my name is Shelley. This is primarily for Nick. Since you primarily worked with William Sadler the most, the rest of y'all can answer too, of course, but what was it like working with him? Because he's had such a long career and being the Grim Reaper in Bill and Ted's and things like that. Did y'all have a lot of fun on set? He seemed like y'all had a really great relationship on the show, and then it transferred to the aliens as well, but I particularly enjoyed y'all's father-son relationship and how it grew.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully everybody, if you have thoughts, please chime in as well. But yeah, I'll say, like, I loved him. I said a piece of this yesterday, that when I first met him, and they were like, "This is Bill Sadler, who'll be playing your dad." I said, I just want to say I'm such a big fan of yours, and I love Shawshank. And he went, "Oh, me too." And he was just so humble and sweet. He's very, very funny and talented. He's very goofy and funny in ways that you just wouldn't expect from someone who's primarily known as a dramatic actor. Something else that I'm going to repeat again today from yesterday is that I was always kind of impressed at how at the high regard he seemed to hold Roswell, and compare, like, when I was like, man, but you've been like in Villains and all these fucking awesome things. Like, you've had this storied film career, and you're like, almost feels like we're doing this show, like I hope to eventually get to where you were at or something. But he was like, oh man, it came out when he like started dating Maria.
Diane Farr.
Yeah, Diane Farr's character.
Amy.
Yeah, Amy DeLuca, yes. He said, I've never gotten to play like the guy that got the girl. Like, he was used to playing bad guys and stuff. So I don't know, I think that just, it's interesting that somebody who'd be playing, who'd be so good at this, and you just don't often think about like what it feels like to them to only be cast as villains, and that there's a part of them that feels unseen. It's like, look, I'm a nice guy too. To be honest, it happened to me, because I only played villains basically until, you might not think of Kyle as that, but I still kind of do, because he was like brought on for that, I think, and then it kind of changed because they were like, oh, we got this goofball to play him. So, but yeah. So anyway, it feels funny sometimes to be cast as a certain, basically typecast in a thing that is like, this is not like reflective of who I am, but it's kind of all you get. Yeah. Bill was fucking amazing. I loved working with him. Hung out with him a lot outside of the show as well. Yeah, sweetheart, wonderful guy, absolute goofball. Any other thoughts, anybody?
I will say that when we were working with him and I met him and I loved Shawshank, to me, he was, it's like I didn't see him, I just saw him as, a much older man. And then I just rewatched an episode and I was like, oh damn, Bill. Oh, Bill. Why were we sleeping on Bill? That's my contribution.
Did we have one more question in the back? We might have time for a quick one. No, okay, great. Well, I would love to hear from each of you. What projects are you working on now that you'd like to plug, or any charities you work with that you want to plug?
Well, we're doing BNT, Baron and Toluca. And we we are open to working with other people, but Brendan and I also have a film coming out, just coincidentally, that is a horror film called Killer Cafe. And charities, oh boy. You're gonna have to get back to me on that. I'm blanking.
I would love to promote B&T because, I'm not a part of it, but I'm hopefully going to be in craft service and maybe...
Okay, that's my charity. I found it. Okay. Love you.
Yeah, me. I'm right now working on something that for NBC called The Hunting Party. I don't know when it'll come out. It's 10 episodes. We'll see what happens.
I'm, obviously working with this one down here. Got Baron and Toluca, and then the Killer Cafe, which I think will be a lot of fun. There's a lot of times you do a project and you kind of know, you're like, yeah, we're doing this, and then you don't have much expectation for it. Some of the stuff out there, it's more quantity than quality a lot of times. But Killer Cafe is actually one where I actually can say I'm excited about. Whether it's going to be good or not, I have no idea. But it was a role that I have never really kind of gotten to play, and it was a lot of fun. And then, obviously, getting to team up with her again was a treat. So that's that.
Thank you so much for moderating.
Sorry. I was going to ask if I could ask one question of everybody before we... I'm sorry, I have to go.
No, time's up.
Is there a moment or that you guys have that a moment from the show where you're like, I've always kind of wish people knew the behind the scenes of that moment on the show?
Golly.
Or just where there's a fucking funny or weird, I don't know.
You're asking us?
Yeah.
No, each audience member has to answer.
That's why I was like, this is not the way to end this, Nick. I was like, do not ask these people any questions.
We were going to be given a 5-minute mark.
God, nothing comes to mind right now.
Okay.
We were talking about 47 last night, and I don't know if I've told the story before. I may have, but it jarred my memory a little bit. In the beginning, when Brennan and I are riding Bob on the way to go to see what this crash was all about, we were off in a place that we hadn't really been before, and there were some rolling hills on the road all the way to the site, and we were it was in the morning, and they thought we're just going to roll on the first one, and Brendan has kind of a heavy foot on that. And so if you guys go back and watch it, you'll see we're going, and he's kind of hauling ass. We go down the first little divot, and he's got the steering wheel to hold on to. I've got nothing. And so you see me sort of levitate about 2 to 3 feet up in the air. I'm above the glass like this, and I'm just sitting prone, straight up like that. And I thought I was going to eat the glass. So you see me kind of grab the glass like that as I sit down. I thought about that last night, and so I don't know if I told that story before, but he was definitely asked to go a little slower the next time.
I don't know. I think I knew the behind the scenes of most things, right? Because we were just on set for together for so many hours. But
I mean that anything that you knew that you wanted them to know.
Oh. No, I would have to. I don't think we have enough time for me to think about that.
Fine.
Speak to an attorney.
Great question, Nick. Great question.
I'll say this one. When I had to play drunk, I was actually drunk. I'd never been drunk in my life, and so I got a bottle of vodka. And I was like, well, let me just see what this is like, and I'll just get a little drunk, and then it's basically the story you told the other day, but it was on set. It's on film. it kind of wasn't worth it because I didn't act in a way, like it still looks like, I still kind of acted drunk. I still kind of did a goofy version of drunk that looks like I'm just pretending anyway. But I was unfortunately really smashed. And because I drank most of the bottle of vodka because I didn't know my limit. And so I just was like...
He doesn't drink, by the way.
He's not a drinker.
And so I was like, well, I'll just get more drunk than I need to be, and then it'll wear off as we're, like, but I had no idea how long that takes.
Way to start off with more drunk than I need to be.
Yeah.
Probably your first mistake.
Yeah, and so I was smashed out of my mind on set, and I felt like I kind of pulled it off, like where people didn't really know, but I think wardrobe knew. Because I kept dropping my fucking gloves. They had to get, like, because it was freezing that night. So they had to keep coming up and being like, Nick, you dropped these again. So yeah, that's a little behind the scenes thing you might not have all known.
I was going to say thank you so much for moderating, and thank you guys for coming. It really means the world to us.
I also want to say that one of the things I heard backstage is that they appreciate that this fandom is just so positive and like has so much love in it. So thank you all for being here and for keeping the spirit of this show alive for 25 years. It's amazing. And to end, let's give the cast a round of applause for being here and for answering questions. Enjoy the rest of your con. Don't forget to rate on the app for this panel. It makes a big difference, and just getting feedback and hopefully bringing these folks back in the future. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your dragon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.